What's up, guys? It's day 279 of I'm the Only One Cutting, and according to the dungeon calendar, it is leg day. And apart from waking up at an all-time low weight of 79.5 kilograms, pretty shredded, I also woke up in a cold sweat because allegedly in my last video the audio quality was terrible, and that is the worst thing a man such as myself can hear. I want to be behind you, so yeah, I'm just gonna go to a new gym and hopefully it's better. So it turns out I lied when I said the audio quality would be better. Nope, it's still terrible. The mic was too far away from my mouth so you couldn't hear me at all. It turns out that when I woke up in a cold sweat, it wasn't because I was cracking under the criticism of terrible audio, it was because I'm deviously sick. So essentially, you have an even more sick version of myself coming back to commentate the gym session that a slightly less sick version of myself did earlier today. Otherwise, you would be listening to a very muffled and quiet British mumble with the occasional So hopefully I'll have the audio sorted out over the next few videos, but the worst case scenario is you will just have my soothing commentary over the top instead. Nice, up close and personal. But let's get on to the session. Since it's legs, I always start with squat first and work my way up with a few warm-up sets to 120 kilograms. Then I do 3 working sets on that weight. Now obviously I'm not going to show you all 3 sets, that would be ridiculous. I'd be giving away too many secrets. And this is the first one. Always high bar squat, close stance, and at least parallel, as this form I feel the most in my quads and it causes the least stress on my lower back. I aim for around 10 to 14 reps and as close to failure as possible. The thing is with squatting, and I'm sure, maybe it is only me, it always feels harder than it looks. Like I finished this set and got 14 reps and thought no way I was getting any more, and yet I look back at the footage and clearly I am being a little bitch. I probably had at least 1 or 2 in me. But then I realised it must just be a camera trick, or somebody edited the footage while I looked away, because nobody trains hard. Alright, on to the second exercise of the day, that is legs, leg press machine. And ignore that banging that sounds suspiciously like the police are raiding me whilst I'm doing my commentary, because it wouldn't surely be that. Why would it be? I definitely just put the mic a little bit too close to the weight stack. There's nothing suspicious at all in my basement, so don't bother looking. But again, the same thing as the squats, just 3 sets to failure. Except with this, at least at the start, I like to do a slight pause after every rep. But as you can see, I gave up. Essentially, it just makes it a bit harder since you don't bounce it off the stack. And I think this next clip, I said something like, POV, you are me, lucky you. Hilarious, because nobody even comes close to being me. On to the last and final quad exercise of the day. Now you might be thinking, Jack, you are clearly ego lifting. But when your ego is as big as mine, it's impossible not to. A little bit of ego lifting is fine. I don't do it on things that could potentially injure my beautiful specimen-esque physique like squats or leg press. But if you injure yourself on a leg extension machine, that seems like a skill issue more than anything else. Get better, kid. And also, when it's the last exercise for the muscle group, so this is my last quad exercise, I always do a drop set of at least 3 different weights. Mainly because I just like them more than regular sets. But they are extra taxing on the body, so if I did this at the start of my session, instead it would negatively impact the majority of my other lifts. But if it's at the end, it's just going to impact my ability to walk, which, when you are as double cheeked up as me, is a challenge anyway. Speaking about that, for some reason I went to find out the video of me doing some hamstring curls, but the only one I have is from this angle. Whoops, looks like it's going to have to do. Anyway, this is actually the only hamstring exercise I hit this day. Mainly just because I couldn't be bothered doing Romanian or stiff-legged deadlifts, which I would usually try and do most days. But I'm sick, so let me off, jack me off. This one's a funny one. I remember doing all my sets of calf raises, all to failure of course, nobody does it harder than me. How do you think I crafted such 4th dimensional calves? And spitting out some sage advice. And then I went back, checked the footage, and found out that I forgot to press record. So I was like, alright, I'll just do another set and spew out my sage advice even more sagely. Only to realise when I got home that you couldn't hear my sagely advice anyway. So for the 3rd time, I'll repeat it. Essentially, I was just saying that even though it wasn't the best session that I've hit, an alternate version of myself plagued with the same illness I've recently been infected with would have taken a day off the gym. But a bad session is better than no session at all. And if I manage to infect enough other people at the gym, I can secure myself as the only one lifting. Nobody's lifting! Essentially, I was also saying that you'll never have calves as good as me, since I'm just a genetically superior version of everybody else on the planet, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try and have the second best calves. And this is what I do for them. I do the full stack, obviously, and then I drop set that into single leg calf raises. Alright, obviously we've got to check the post leg pump, and I suppose you can watch me being an absolute bellend. It took me 3 minutes to figure out how to be in the frame whilst flexing with the tripod instead of having somebody record it for me. But this is something I just have to get used to. And when I finally figured it out, I flexed my legs for maybe about 2 seconds and realised, wait a second, look at how good my upper body's looking. I'm essentially flat. I came to the gym and hit legs, and look at how good I'm looking with no pump. Extremely full, dense and succulent. Realised my mistake, went back to flex the legs for again maybe a second. I was like, fuck it, vacuum. Yeah, I really do need to work on the legs, but they're not too bad. Hopefully I can sort out my audio technical difficulties. I plan on being extremely consistent with these, so let me know if you like it, how I can improve, yada yada yada. It's push tomorrow, so maybe I can show you how I got my bulbous rear